It's pretty clear that feminist organizations like Collective Shout are partially getting their way. They are getting payment processors to listen to their complaints, but on the flip side, they're not totally winning because not everybody is on their side. They are facing a major backlash right now, and it just goes to show that gamers are willing to defend their hobby tooth and nail. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, over the past week or so, we've all been talking about Collective Shout and feminist organizations within the gaming industry. These people do not actually care about our hobbies, and I personally don't believe that they really care about protecting girls or protecting women. Like, they really just care about lining their own pockets and making a profit off of the word woman. It is an insult to women across the world, but there are plenty of organizations exactly like this. I mean, we previously saw Feminist Frequency try to grift off of the gaming industry, and that went terribly, but Collective Shout has been getting some major backlash over the past couple of days, and they actually had just recently decided to protect their posts on X by locking down their account, which isn't particularly shocking, but of course they are not going to be silent. It's not like they're stopping their efforts trying to, accept the fact that people don't like them and trying to listen to us. No, no, no. They just want to hide in their echo chamber, and they only want like-minded people to be able to interact with them. Of course, that's not going to work out particularly well for them, given there are people like their co-founders and campaigners on social media who are very vocal in regards to their cause, who are really just stirring the pot. They're causing themselves more problems. And to top all of that off, even though they had locked down their account, they actually decided to unlock it for a little while to make this long post about digital abuse, and then they went back to being private. It's like they just cannot help themselves. They don't know how to fix the situation. I think that they expected a certain level of backlash, but I genuinely don't think they expected this much backlash. But I'm really glad to see that gamers are speaking up for their hobby and they're not taking these people's BS. So Collective Shout had actually posted this over on their X saying, "Digital abuse, female gamers speak out." This quote came from a gamer and survivor who spoke out against platforms selling these types of inappropriate deemed games, they believe, not just for herself, but for every woman who's been silenced, sidelined, or abused. Now, there's a quote here that says, "To allow this type of digital abuse makes them equally a perpetrator and a pimp," and it just says from a female gamer and survivor. So I have a feeling it was really just one of the people who actually is a part of this organization. I don't really believe that they had somebody reach out to them and say this. No, it's just a way too convenient. I believe that it's just them spewing lies, saying, "Oh my God, there's this woman that reached out to us." I don't think anybody is reaching out to them to really give them support. But they had done a thread, and the second message in it said, "While we were calling for these titles like No Mercy to be pulled from Steam, many female gamers spoke out against games which," I think that's what they mean, "trivialize men's violence against women, survivors of abuse and assault themselves. They objected to their experiences being turned into entertainment. Sometimes art is uncomfortable." And I do genuinely feel bad that people were hurt, that there was violence against them, that they were abused. That is a very terrible thing and a tragic thing that they went through. But ultimately, sometimes art is going to be uncomfortable, and you are going to see depictions in video games, movies, TV shows, books, entertainment in general that make you uncomfortable. Like if we read 1984 and we see what's going on in the world right now, you're probably going to be a little bit uncomfortable. Are we going to ban 1984? Absolutely not. Oh, if there's a character in a video game that uses a gun and somebody got shot, do we need to ban that game? No, because censorship is a slippery slope, and that is why I personally have been so vocal in terms of censorship on this channel for years now. Over 6 years, I have been discussing the video game industry and Steam and Nintendo and Sony banning certain titles, forcing developers to censor themselves, and I will continue to do so. And in the case of No Mercy or all of these sex games that are being banned, that are being removed from platforms, I understand that there are people out there who say, "I don't really care about the content. It's not that big of a deal to me," but the right to free speech is more important than the content. of speech. I think that that is a fantastic quote, and I think that it is important that we repeat that constantly, because I will sit here and defend content even if I personally would not consume it, even if I personally would not play these types of games or monetarily support them. They do have a right to exist, because at the end of the day, we are talking about pixels, we are talking about fictional characters, and these do not actually harm anybody. If you are a woman or even a man who sees something in a video game that personally bothers you, that makes you uncomfortable, shut off the screen, maybe call your therapist, take your medication, and try to talk through it and think logically about the fact that this is not real. It is not an experience that is currently happening to you. And sometimes, yeah, you are just going to be uncomfortable. Like, I personally don't care about the Saw movies. I don't like the Saw movies. What do? I don't watch the Saw movies. I don't sit here and complain about them and how they shouldn't exist. It says, though, many women have reached out to us privately, silenced from speaking publicly, knowing the abuse and threats of violence they will be subjected to if they do. They thanked us for our campaign to get these games off of Steam and itch.io. We stand with all these women. Of course, you only stand with women who push the narrative that you want to push. You're ignoring women like Savvy, you're ignoring women like Lumi, women like myself, who are being very vocal and saying that entertainment should stay entertainment and it should not be censored. You are only supporting the women that you personally can profit off of, and that is why people do not like you. That is why you are being called out on your BS. And I mean, this thread is filled with comments of people saying, yeah, they're absolutely hacks, totally and completely. They're building a case for mass removal of anything they deem inappropriate. Legal action may be needed to stop these individuals. And I do agree. I think that they are just trying their very best to stay relevant in this situation and voice their hatred for men and games. And of course, because gaming is a male-dominated hobby and space, right, they want to ultimately control it and censor things because, God forbid, men have things that they enjoy. But yeah, I mean, there are people who are saying, how is censoring digital abuse supposed to curb real life abuse? Like, I'm not getting the logic. The whole thing just comes off as a group of lunatics on a power trip. That is all that it is really about to these people, is power and profit and control. Why are they so fixated on digital abuse? Is stopping actual abuse not more pertinent? This Karen clown car of an organization only cares about power plays. They don't give a single shit about victims, which is so totally true. And that's why they're getting wrecked by gamers right now. And you absolutely love to see it. I mean, they completely deserve all the backlash that they're getting. So I had posted this over on my X account. And while the first part has to do with the Supreme Court, the rest of it is universal. And I think it's so important for people to hear. The U.S. Supreme Court has interpreted the First Amendment's protection of speech to extend well beyond speeches and books to virtually anything that the human creative impulse can produce. The First Amendment embodies the belief that in a free and democratic society, individual adults must be free to decide for themselves what to read, write, paint, draw, compose, see, and hear. Provocative and controversial art and in-your-face entertainment frequently test our commitment to this belief. Why oppose censorship when scenes of murder dominate video entertainment, when works of art can directly insult people's religious beliefs, and when pornography abounds on the internet? Why not let the majority's morality and taste dictate what others can look at or listen to? The answer is simple and timeless. A free society is based on an individual's right to decide what art they want or do not want to see. Once you allow the government to censor one person, it has the power to censor you or something you like. And I think that it is so important that a statement like this is seen by these feminist freaks. It's not that we're porn addicted, brain rotted pedo gamers, as the feminists like to call us, specifically the co-founder of Collective Shout. You are just somebody who is anti-censorship, and you are somebody who believes that entertainment should be allowed to be a bit controversial. It is allowed to be a little bit uncomfortable, and ultimately adults should be able to consume content made for adults. Things should not be sanitized. Things should not be politically correct. And if in 5 years or 10 years, credit card companies and the government, right, control our entertainment, everything is going to be sanitized and politically correct. And that is not a world that I and many other people want to live in. So it's so important that we continue to fight back against these organizations. We voice how unhappy we are with the itch.ios, with the Steams, with the Nintendos. And hey, maybe soon the big three will make a statement on this and how disappointed they are. Maybe they will actually defend gamers and stick up for us. This is, of course, making waves on social media right now. So there is a lot to get through in terms of the coverage, but I will continue to do so. And I know that so many other content creators are as well. But yeah, right now these feminists are getting absolutely laughed at by gamers, and you love to see it. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.